Hi, Tiffany Speaks lovers. This is your girl, Jumoke. She's here again. We had an amazing time discussing with Coach Oye on vulnerability and weakness. We spoke about logic and emotions. If you have missed that episode, you need to go back and watch the full episode. It was quite an inspiring one. You're welcome again, sir.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yeah, the last episode we had, I got a lot of feedback. We're like, who is that man? We need to speak to him. He has so much knowledge. And I'm like, you have no idea. I'm like, I think you should bring him back. You people need to discuss so many other things. And that's what Tiffany Speaks is about. We discuss, I call it the chronicles of real life issues. Means everything that we experience, every challenges we experience in our day-to-day activities, if only we have someone to guide us on how to properly navigate these things. A lot of people are on a journey of self-discovery, healing. They have all of these issues, but they don't have the right people to talk to. So I've seen people come to my page and say, thank God I found this page. So, and this particular topic, we're going to discuss today is so important to me in person. Why do we have this fear of other people already doing it better? Maybe I shouldn't bother. What if mine is not good enough? I researched on it and I found that it was actually something called imposter syndrome. But you're here, so I want to ask you, what is imposter syndrome really? How do people, is it something that you're born with? Is it like a mental disorder, or what leads to it?
Living with another person's identity. The concept of this can't be me because I'm not supposed to be as good as this. Let's go back to where we get our self-identity from. The definition of who we are. It comes from our background and the family we grew up with and what they called us, who they called us, and how they called us. Now, that concept entrenches in us, in our spirit, in our person of who we are. As we grow, we need to redefine that based on who we have become or who we want to be. Now, that's not a function of what you can do, what you cannot do. It's just a function of existence. It's a space of, I exist as a unique human being, and this is me. It's not a function of your abilities first. It's just a function.
Who you are.
This is just me.
Yes.
I was created uniquely and beautifully and all that. It is not a function of first what I'm able to do that then justifies whether I'm accepted or not. No, that's not the first concept. It's the first concept of who am I?
Who am I?
That's the first concept. Now, so when you have dealt with that, the issue of if you are good enough is different. Because people who have come to realization of who they are and what they are and what they can do or what they cannot do will still attempt those nearly impossible things and laugh at themselves when they fail. So it's not a function of your ability. It's a function of the assurance of who you are and what you are. And that I attempted to do this even in public, but I failed. I said, okay, and I try again. That is the concept of self-identity. That in trying to become a skilled person, it doesn't change the core of who I am.
Who I am.
It doesn't change the core of who I am.
The first step,
That's
who
the,
are you?
Yes, that's the first step. Then the second issue is the concept of self-efficacy. To say, look, I have the ability as a person. I believe, and I have proved it, that anytime I try to do something and I put my learning to it, I'm able to produce the results.
Yes.
So if I attempt this one, even though there are 1,000 people who can do it better, I will still try and create my own niche because I'm unique. I'm not everybody. That guy may have 10,000 followers or 5,000 followers or 1,000 followers. I am just starting in my unique way. And there are people who are designed in their minds. And I am designed in my person to meet their needs. That other guy who has 1,000,000 people or 10,000 people, there are some people that will never follow him. They are waiting for my voice, my own efficacy to come out of their challenge. Now, when you understand that, you will deal with the issue of
what if I'm not good enough?
What if I'm not good enough?
Yeah.
The issue of confidence, the issue of esteem. Now, in identity, as we were growing up, maybe you didn't grow up like me. On the street, they say, hey, big head, big nose, big eye. As kids, we internalized it.
Yes.
As you grow, you need to realize
Insecurities.
that those things may have lodged into you certain insecurities, or you have believed it, and that you need to undo it and relabel yourself profitably. If you don't know how to relabel yourself profitably, you will still be hearing the voice of that bully on the streets. Say, hey, Mr. Big Head, come here. Oh, K leg, X leg, bow legs, goalkeeper you can do. And kids, those kids are ridiculous,
I laughed loud because I had bow leg growing up, so I can relate to what you just said firsthand.
And you can imagine what they told you.
Yes, my brothers will use my leg as goalpost, so I can relate.
So you can imagine that.
Yes.
So if you remain with that concept to
Yes.
say, all my life is defined around my bow leg, or my big nose, or my big head, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
When you stand in front of a mirror, you stand in front of a crowd, you stand in front of a class.
That's all you see.
That's all you see.
Yeah.
But there are 1,000 things more about you than that. That self-efficacy is about the belief that you have the innate ability to perform. All you need to do is to learn and to practice. You will get it right. Confidence comes from first identity. Then it comes next from efficacy to say, I am able to do this regardless of. And if you catch me halfway, I'll tell you I'm practicing.
Wow.
That is the thing. So I'm practicing. Every good guy you see there on top today started somewhere. He practiced. He continued. He burned the night candle and he has become good. So why am I different? That's what I'm doing. So don't judge me on my way to becoming better.
But you know the interesting thing is that
Yes.
there are very successful people who still suffer from this imposter syndrome. They are walking their way through life. They are failing. They are getting back on the horse. But they still feel this deep sense of, I am still not good enough.
Because they kept defining themselves based on what they've achieved rather than who they are. So
It's not about what you have achieved.
No.
It's about who you are.
Because that's why you find wealthy people committing suicide. How come this guy is so wealthy, so accomplished, but he killed himself? Why? Because it is not in what you have done. It is in who you are. So if you don't conceptualize who you are first,
in what you have done.
it's in who you are.
It's in who you are.
How can you win the world beauty pageant and then you kill yourself? That it tells you it's not about the achievement. It's first about dealing with the internal dilemmas of, am I this person or am I that person? Secondly, for many people, the experiences they had in the past defines them. I went through trauma. It defines me. I went through loss. It defines me. I got through this background. It defines me. No, you are old enough to redefine yourself and make that definition real to you. Why are you allowing other people's words to be the loudest voice in your head?
You
in
said
your
it
mind.
in the last conversation we had that you said you have all this trauma. You went through this. You went through that. Yes, but is that what's going to define the rest of your life?
No
you
way.
have now grown.
Yes.
What do you want to do about it?
What do you want to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You have to do something about it and move on. Except you want to be unhappy through the rest of your life. If the answer is no, these things that seem to have defined you up until today, ask yourself why. Maybe somebody that was totally influential in your life defined you and made you believe that is what and who you are. And that even with all your achievement, the person never approves you. When are you going to take the dial? When are you going to take the control of your life away from that person? To realize that, hey, it's not about you. It's about me. We were not born together. I was born uniquely and separately. And the numbers don't define me. That 10,000 people are following me doesn't make me successful or unsuccessful. There are many successful people that have no social media presence. So if you look at many yardsticks and you allow social media to rail your life, like you said, many young people are depressive. Why? They've allowed the curation of what you want people to see.
The perfectly told story.
Yes.
to define.
To be their definition. They're looking at somebody else and using that person as the yardstick. But that person curated all the pictures, the background, the front, everything, the story they want you to see. You don't know that they also have their own challenges behind. So you need to deal with the issue of your identity. Who am I? So long as you keep defining yourself from the perspective or yardstick and measure of another person, comparatively, you will keep having the feeling of loss. If you keep defining yourself from a class perspective, you keep having the issue of loss. If you keep defining yourself from the perspective of achievement or no achievement, no, you are a unique human being created by God with a purpose. That if you define yourself from that perspective, you will see that you are less under pressure to prove yourself. Why are you trying to prove yourself to a world that is not looking and not listening? They don't care. You are just another story that is going to go away tomorrow or next tomorrow. Another big story will flash and Instagram has moved on. And then you have to be the strength for you. So when you feel like you are an imposter in your own skin, in your own body, reunite. Don't be like that. You know, those movies we watch where the audio and the video are not together. So the guy said,
The confusion.
you know, there's a confusion about the audio and the
Yes.
video, you know, those funny movies that we watch. You need to bring your audio and your video
It has
together.
to be an alignment.
There has to be an alignment so that the things you say about yourself and the things you see about yourself are together.
Same.
And you tell yourself you're on a journey.
Yes.
And you see, the other thing about this, the imposter syndrome is the issue of your emotions. You have not mastered, you have not become emotionally intelligent to know that you are not a victim of your emotions, that you have a choice with your emotions. You can tone yourself down emotionally. You can express yourself. That it is not the function of what I did to you that made you
then
emotional.
defines the,
No,
wow.
it is what I have decided to respond to. That somebody did something and I chose to respond in a or B way. That's the point.
It's all about your choice.
It's a choice, but you have to become emotionally educated and smarter to get to the point where people are not the one that dictates in the morning the channel of emotion that you will switch to. Otherwise, you will not have a fantastic life. So today I see you and you are my partner and I say, I don't want her to be excited today. And I'm going to switch your emotions to,
your mood.
yeah, I'm going to switch your emotions to, you know, an antique movie. So you're just there and I'm going to ruin your mood and you allow me to. That is a problem because you're not defining your day by what another person did. What do you do? Learn how to manage your emotions so that you can remain focused. Look, they always say don't read the comment section on social media because you're going to have a lot of people say stuff. If you are not emotionally stable, don't read them. It will break you. Don't read those comment section. If you have come to become stabilized and you grew up like me in a crazy secondary school, in a crazy secondary school, that the good morning is extensive. You know those boys, extensive words that they're going to use to describe you. It's just breathe like water over your skin, just run over. So it is important that we don't keep feeling the sense of loss or inability or I'm not good enough. You're not good enough, learn. But know that I'm good enough for where I am because this is what I have learned. But tomorrow I'm going to learn something else. I'm going to educate myself and become better. And I'm going to learn from the bigger people. That's the way. Because if you're an imposter in your own body, then who are you or who do you want to be like? Let me tell you. I always say that some of the most dangerous places on earth is your family circle or your religious circles or your workplace. Why? Because that's where we have our guards down.
Completely.
And the people just talk. Sometimes it's a joke. Sometimes it's a snazzy statement. And it enters into you and it settles into you. And you're unable to function anymore. You want to protect yourself from those words that are not building, that are not supportive, that are not engaging for your future. So otherwise you keep having the sense that, oh, but they said I'm not good enough. So I can't take on that stage. I remember many years ago, I was given a beautiful platform internationally. Before I got on the flight and went there, I felt the concept of, would I be accepted? But I'm black, but I'm blue, but I'm this, but I'm that. I told myself one day, there's only one thing that's going to happen. I'm going to climb on that stage, do what I need to do, and come back home. And that's what I did. And after that, I must have gotten maybe 20 or 30 invitations from that event. So I said, oh, if I'd allowed myself to have the feeling of not being good enough, I would have declined. And I've not had those other opportunities. There will be opportunities, but you are the one that can determine where you allow it to go.
So you will feel the imposter syndrome, but what matters is how you deal with it. Okay.
The message, the coding you have given yourself, the programming that you have told yourself. Look, self-talk is very important.
Yes.
When you wake up in the morning, what do you tell
Say to
yourself?
yourself?
If you don't tell yourself something, somebody else will tell you something.
This is such an amazing conversation. I'm really, guys, like, how are you feeling right now after listening to all of this? It's been a great time having you here again on Tiffany Speaks. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time.